Brat summer is taking the social media world by storm thanks to pop star Charlie XCX. But what about the Brat diet? This evolving method is being heavily discussed in terms of gut wellness. And Dr. Rocco joins me now with more on that. Dr. Rocco, excited to speak with you. How are things?
Thank you. Excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes. So why don't we just start with tell me what the Brat diet is and kind of what its purpose is.
Okay, so the Brat diet is an acronym. It stands for bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. And back when children were young, this was probably about 20, 30 years ago, it was very common when kids got sick and infants had diarrhea, the pediatrician would recommend a really bland diet to help them recover. So that's how it started. That's the history of it. And now it's getting repopularized again, just because these diet fads and everything, like you said, the music.
Yeah. So would you say there's any limitations on this specific diet?
Yes, there really is. In fact, now the Pediatric Association, they don't even recommend the brat diet even for children because it's such low in nutrition. So it's low in amino acids, low in protein, and low in good fats. And that's kind of a very important thing. Of course, the brat diet is great to do if you get sick, even during COVID. While people got COVID, they got diarrhea. So the brat diet is great to do when you initially have your first 3 days of diarrhea. It helps you recover. But after that, no, I don't recommend it.
Okay, so not sustainable long term then.
Absolutely not. No. Mm-mm.
No, I love that. All right, so what would you say then are maybe some modern approaches to digestive health that are actually helpful and positive?
Okay, so I'm in functional medicine, and in functional medicine, we look at what's sustainable long term and what keeps longevity going and health of cells recovering. So I recommend, yes, when you're acutely sick, for first 8 hours, don't do sugars, don't do fats, but long term wise, after you recover from having diarrhea, I would highly recommend a diet low in sugar,
Mm.
especially processed foods. I would recommend cutting down on alcohol because that's all turns into sugar. I would recommend cutting out a lot of dairy unless you're eating organic, pasture raised dairy and foods. I would even cut out meats because most of meats and foods are processed. So cut out to make that easy, cut out GMO foods,
Okay.
cut out ultra processed fast foods. And I know that's like a kind of like a sensitive term right now. And I'm not like suggesting that everyone has access to this, but eating vegetables in itself makes a big difference. Eating
Hmm.
more fatty foods like almonds, nuts, um, makes a huge difference for gut health to recover.
Okay, that's really interesting. So tell me about this idea of like trendy solutions versus whole foods.
Okay, so trendy solutions are what gets media attention and what gets TikTok going. Everybody wants to look for a new fad, and they just want it's a talking point. So I tell people, health is not a trend. Okay, you want a boring, healthy life, especially when it comes to gut health. Gut health represents mental health, your beautiful skin, how you age, and it represents more than anything mental health nowadays. So if people eat fermented food like kimchi, miso soup, and if they had to eat carbohydrates, I recommend sourdough bread, organic. People eating more olive oil instead of seed oils, people eating powerhouse spices like turmeric, oregano, basil, parsley. So eating things that grow in Mother Nature heal us.
Mm.
Man-made foods such as like alcohol, breads, super processed foods, they degenerate us and they take away our lifespan. They don't regenerate our stem cells or telomeres. And drinks have so many calories, like alcohol. But so do all these other drinks now, these sugary drinks. So I recommend green tea, coconut water, and I also recommend matcha tea because it's a great way to detox. Like, when you eat sushi, the mercury, it's a great way to detox your body and your gut.
Okay, Dr. Arco, any final tips to improve gut health or just kind of like our overall nutrition?
Absolutely. The first thing I would tell anyone is to cut out processed sugars and eat a high fat diet that has low sugar and high fiber, which would mean vegetables, eating grass fed beef, eating fiber packed vegetables and fruits. and organic grass-fed meats and dairy. Avoid sugars at any cost. That includes like excessive alcohol, because a lot of people think that alcohol is not in that bracket, but it totally is.
Mm.
And eat more nuts and seeds and olives.
Yeah, very, very helpful tips there. Dr. Rocco, hopefully people are feeling inspired to live a more healthy lifestyle in the right and appropriate way. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we'll speak to you sometime in the future.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.